Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. What is today? Today's Wednesday, February 13th. It's 12:30, just a couple of minutes after 12:30. I hope you're having an excellent day. If you're listening to the recording, I hope you're having a great day, regardless of what day and time it is that you're listening to this. And we're going to have a great guest. We're going to have Paul Ostrin from Unlimited Integration out of Houston, and super pumped to have him on the show. But before we bring him on, let me go ahead and just check my technology, make sure that we are in fact streaming into Facebook. Make sure no technology gremlins are attacking us and are harming the show going live out to the interwebs. All right, so bear with me as I check this out. There we are. Looks like we are live. All right, so I'm gonna jump right into it. Let's go ahead and bring Paul in. Let me bring this down, and we'll bring Paul up. Paul, how's it going, sir?
What's up, man? How are you?
I am good. Thank you for being on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So let's let the audience know, where are you coming to us from?
So we are in Stafford, Texas. We're about a stone's throw from Houston. So we Houston and Stafford butt up to each other. So we're just south Houston, southwest Houston.
Southwest Houston. Okay. So I'm here in Florida, as you know, Paul, and some of our audience probably know that. And it's nice and warm here. It's actually a little rainy. How's the weather where you're at? I know a lot of our friends up north are freezing.
All right. So yes, it's in the 60s and sunny. It's a beautiful day today. So we're very lucky. We deal with heat. So do you.
Yeah, exactly.
But, we don't get huge cold, so it's not too bad.
Now, you're in Houston, and you guys got clobbered some time ago by actually one of the hurricanes, right? That came there.
We had Harvey. Yeah, Harvey itself wasn't so bad. There was the storm after Harvey, the rain that came in with Harvey kind of decimated a lot of our clients and a lot of the area around here. So it's still in the rebuild, and it's been a year and a half, and yeah, we're still, people finally getting their checks. People are building new homes and lifting homes and stuff like that. So it's been fun.
Were you personally affected, either personally or your business? Were you affected and negatively from that storm?
So I mean, I guess I can't say I was, thankfully, my house did not flood. My brother flooded. He got 14 inches and they're back in their house now. But thankfully we didn't. Business wise, I mean, it was the first couple of months were tough, right? We spent a lot of time helping with cleanup and using our guys to help with cleanup and stuff like that on homes. Yeah, we were nervous. I'll be honest. We were nervous for the first couple of months after, and then it's sort of industry wide. I think January and February are tough months. So that happened in August, and so there was about 3 months of kind of scariness, and then we had Christmas, which was okay, and then it kind of dropped off again. But things have definitely come back. I mean, we're as busy as we've ever been, and like I said, there's a ton of people building, so it's made for tons of work.
So business is good right now.
Business is good right now. Yes, sir.
Well, awesome. Congratulations. I know I'm getting feedback around the country. Some markets are hot, some markets are not. And I think Texas is particularly unique, or maybe built to withstand some of the stuff that happens around the country, or even more macroeconomic issues, just because of I don't know. Texas is Texas.
Yeah. Oil is our big mainstay here, right? So as long as people are using oil, there tends to be, on the big money side, there tends to be money flowing around.
Sure. So for those of you that are out there watching, thanks for watching. Actually, why don't you drop a comment into the show here and let us know where you're coming to us from, and just for the fun of it, tell us what the temperature is outside. I think that's always fun. And those of you that comment, oh, look at that. Julie just gave us a thumbs up. Julie Jacobson of CE Pro. Thanks for watching, Julie. Appreciate that. And, but yeah, give us a comment. Tell us where you're coming to us from. Speaking of Texas, I think Julie actually, didn't she move to San Antonio?
Yeah, I think she's in San Antonio. I think I read that too, or maybe she might have just gotten a place in Minnesota too, or something.
Oh yeah, they did. Julie used to live in Minnesota. So I did see that on Facebook. So yeah, appreciate the love, folks. Appreciate the thumbs up, and but drop a comment. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're coming to us from. It's always fun to see. But Paul, let's start before I get a lot of hopefully fun and interesting topics I want to cover with you. But I always like the audience to understand who you are and where you come from and how you landed in this crazy business. And maybe even why you stayed. Why'd you stay in this crazy business? What is it that's keeping you here? So can you fill us in on a little bit of your background?
Yeah, so I did car audio with a bunch of other guys I know now, really good guys I know now, and then I worked as an engineer for about 7 years, and I kind of hated every day of it. I being in an office is not my bag, and it's funny as a CEO of a company now, it's my bag again, right? Not that I want it to be, but but being in an office was not the thing I wanted to do, and so my wife was a teacher, and she had some I guess student parents in kind of a upper scale part of Houston, and they kind of asked, hey, do you know somebody who would help us with this? And, she knows I'm a technical person. And so I sort of started that way in 2009 or 2010. I just sort of started helping out friends and that sort of thing, doing this stuff. And I learned that it was starting to take more time than I was willing to give up. And so I made an agreement with the engineering company I was with to kind of stay on in a part-time role and try this. And then and that only lasted about 2 months. And then we just Carrie and I, my wife and I, just kind of said, okay, let's do it. And Unlimited Integration was born in January of 2011, and full-time in July of 2011. And then we've been rocking it ever since, and no real complaints. Things are great. I mean, obviously, there are stress points in any business, and so we definitely go through those as well. But overall, it's been a fun ride.
What do you think from your past work experience prepared you to be an owner operator? I mean, what were the trials or tribulations you went through that had you ready to do this?
Nothing. And to be completely honest, I don't know that I ever thought that this would be 20 people and employees and health insurance. And, I didn't ever think that this was the thing. Right. I think I wanted it to be me and maybe some subs and make a little bit of money and not have to work for somebody. So it's grown considerably since then. And I mean, I'm super thankful for it and grateful that we've made it. And, but I don't know that there was anything in my past that would have prepared me. I think a lot of this is just drive, right? It's I feel like I'm a hard worker. I feel like we've been very, very lucky with the hires that we've made to have just a ridiculously awesome team, and they make it easy, right? They make everything easier for me.
Yeah, I have a belief system that when you hire the right people, they make whatever their job is look easy.
Sure.
Whereas when you hire the wrong people, they complain and they make it look really hard. And maybe you think you need 2 people to do that job. And the key is good hiring. Focusing on that just for a minute, I mean, where did you figure out how to hire, or the method you go through to hire? Like, is there any magic tricks you have, or?
I wish I could say there are. You know, we are really just, I tell everybody this, I start relationships with trust, right? So, you know, I am one of those guys that, you know, I trust you when we meet, and then you have to break that trust. So, you know, and it's not hard to break it, right? I mean, you could do very, very small things to break trust with me. I'm sorry, my thing here, sorry.
That's
so
no, I think I've got all my audio components on my computer tuned down, but you never know. One always squeaks by. So.
Yeah, I don't even know how to turn it off. So
no worries.
Yeah, the technology guy here. So no, I mean, I think that, you know, Chris is my COO, Marcus is my CTO, and those guys really, the three of us really get together and we decide, you know, this is the position we're looking for. Is there somebody in our company that can fit into that? And that's something that I think we pride ourselves on is, I'm so sorry. That's something we pride ourselves on is that we can really refocus people and you know, get them to sort of buy into whatever it is we may want to do, and so because of that, you know, we've really gotten really good people, and because we trust people, you know, they feel like they can work hard for us and not feel like there's a target on their back all the time. So I think it's a grand, you know, whole this, that, and the other thing. So
you had publicized, and even in the bio, I think that's posted here on Facebook. Yeah. You had publicized that you're going to do approximately $4 million this year. I don't know if was that last year's number, or is that your number?
Yeah. Yeah. This year we're hoping for 5 this year. So
for 5.
Yeah, we're hoping for 5. We're pushing for 5. You know, and maybe that's something that I should. When I posted it, I was like, maybe I shouldn't say that. Right?
Well, it's out there on Facebook now.
Now it's worldwide. So, I'm not one of those guys who really care. I mean, the number doesn't really matter to us. We're running and going and really enjoying it. You know, I think that as an industry, everybody thinks about that number, and so I think that it's important to know that, you know, getting there is hard, and once you're there, everybody says, oh well, once you're there, it's easy to keep it. You still got to make really good decisions along the way, and like I said, I think we have the right people making the right decisions.
Now, just speaking about that growth, right? So there's a lot of folks that are watching this or listening to this, and they are maybe a $1 million business or a $2 million business. You know, what do you think some of the components or elements of your business or strategy that have resulted in you being able to grow? You know, the business was born in 2011. Mm-hmm. And here you are 8 years later, 8 or 9 years later, and you're now a nice size business, $5 million business. Are there any particular attributes of your business or your style that you think have lent to that consistent growth?
So, I mean, I think that we have core values, right? That are, you know, honesty, and we really feel like we have minimum standards. We have honesty. We have a lot of things that we really pay attention to. You know, I can't tell you how many jobs I've walked into that I'll see a proposal and what's in the house and what the client paid for are different, right? You know, or somebody uses a process.
Other integrators that have sold one thing but delivered something else. Correct.
We always talk about the fact that we're selling black boxes, right? Our clients trust us. We give them a quote and we say, this is what's going to happen and this is how it's going to work. And we're really selling a dream, right? We're selling this widget and that box are going to make this cool thing happen. And there's a ton of different ways you can make that happen. And a lot of times you'll see that, hey, you know, they sold this and they used this because it was sort of the easy way of getting it done. And we just don't work that way. And so and I think that, you know, that's a big deal. I think that, like I said, I think that we come across very trustworthy. We come across, there's typically when a client has gotten to us, there's multiple points of touch before they've seen us, right? So they've gone to our website, or they've gone to, they've been referred by another client, or they've seen our vans, or they, you know, any one of these 5 or 6 different marketing opportunities that we have. So they're coming to us either because they've already been burned, or because, you know, they've been told that we're the right guys. And when we do, you know, I think we do a great job for them. So, you know, and we stand behind what we do, right? And we offer 24/7 service, and we, you know, we have a great website, and, you know, all of these things are real. So it's not us just 2 guys in a truck saying, hey, we think we can make this work. It's, you know, we have proof that we've made it work, and our clients, thankfully, our clients are awesome. And they, you know, if I have a customer who's building in a high rise, I have a client that I know will want to show off their project in a high rise. If I have a client that's building, you know, a 15 or 20,000 square foot house, I know clients that would happily show off that. We've got huge MDU projects, and those clients want to show it off. I mean, we brought you to one of our MDU projects, right? So, you know, our clients are awesome, and they're just super happy to let us, you know, show them off and that. So, I mean, you know, it's all about, I mean, and we can say this all we want, but it's choosing the right client. It's choosing the right people. You know, it's making sure that everybody is on the same page.
Got it. I agree with all of that. I'm going to throw up here a few of the shout outs here. I've got Stephanie. She says it's 67 degrees in Miami. She's excited to see Paul. There you go. Well, Stephanie, you get to see Paul right there. And we got Troy. Troy says it's 10 degrees and snowing in Cleveland. No thanks.
Nope. I'm out.
Love you, Troy, but yeah, you can keep the 10 degrees. Let's see what else we got here. We got Liz. Liz says that she's checking in from San Diego. So she's happy to hear you. And then we got Kelly. She says it's 45 degrees in Colorado Springs. And who do we got? We got Magnolia or Maggie. She says, hi, Paul and Ron, Unlimited Rocks. And she loves your blogs. I don't know. Little birdie says she might have something to do with those blogs. It's maybe. And here we'll do one more. We got Jordan. He goes, hi, guys. Checking in from Orlando, Florida, where it's a balmy 59 degrees. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate the post.
I know balmy.
Yeah, that is balmy. Yeah.
And I know balmy here. I mean, humidity is our best friend.
Yes, Florida and Texas, friends with humidity. So, Paul, what I want to kind of cover maybe the good and the bad, and maybe it's not really bad, but we'll just start with the good. What are some of the elements of either business strategy or products or technologies that have you excited for 2019? What's like the top of mind that has you pumped?
I mean, look, I think that I think there's a ton of stuff that's happening. Low voltage lighting is super cool, and Savant has a whole bunch of new lighting stuff that's coming that's cool. I think RGBW, circadian, all that kind of stuff, I think is very, very cool. And I think that, you know, we
have you started selling that, the circadian rhythm or the tunable lighting?
So we're definitely talking about it. We haven't sold a project with it yet, but it's definitely something that our sales guys are talking about, and that even our clients are asking about, right? I mean, there's a lot of people talking about it. So it's definitely something that's coming, right? I think we, as integrators, we see a ton of gimmicky stuff. So stuff that, oh, this is who cares about this kind of stuff or that kind of stuff.
Say 3D TVs.
Yeah, exactly. 3D and there's others, right? But I think that this is something real. I think I obviously it's not for the middle of the road client. It's going to be a high end solution, but I think if we can get into energy management, I think that even in Texas where energy prices are dirt cheap, there's still a valid need for it and a valid want for it. And I think that it's big. I think that I think there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming that's going to change for us, right? The key being an integrator, I think, is that you've got to be dynamic, right? We've all seen these, older companies that they want to keep it the same. They want to do everything the same as they've always done it. And, small aperture speakers and, just all of that kind of stuff is we've got to know about it. We've got to play with it. We got to try it.
Now, you had mentioned energy management, and you are a member of OzzieOwned, and I am the newly elected board member at OzzieOwned, and so I am very familiar. One of the topics at the next event in April is going to be energy management. I know Savant's going to be on that panel talking about Race Point Energy. Sonen's going to be there talking about their energy automation solution. And who else? I think SurgeX is going to be on the panel talking about their solutions. So I do think that that's an up and coming topic for the industry.
Well, sure. I mean, Tesla's done a great job of making the batteries and solar and all of this kind of stuff. It's like I said, Houston's not really your big market for it, but in the high end luxury space, there's always a market for things that are cool and that are different and that maybe we can make work or our clients are typically somewhat that they have a phobia of technology a little bit, right? And that's why they bring us in and but they love it, right? Like it's sort of this weird dynamic where they really want it to be super cool, but it has to work really easy. And that's what that's sort of our go-to.
They want the coolest factor without any of the pain or suffering.
Exactly. And energy management can be one of those things where, hey, even if the rates are higher and we automatically dim based on rates or automatically, change AC settings based on type of energy that's coming in. So if you're working off of a battery or you're working off a generator, hey, all of this stuff happens automatically. It's very, very cool stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that our clients really dig, right? So
I agree. I think it's going to be an exciting year as this category really breaks out in our industry. I say that I know Savant's been talking about their solution for a bit, and then you have Rosewater, Piccarelli and his solution. I've had him on the show and talking about that, and now Sonen's been already at 2 CEDIAs, believe it or not. This will be their 3rd CEDIA, right. And then you have all your standbys. Everyone knows Jimmy and X and all the UPS and energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but there's other battery manufacturers out there, and there's other guys doing solar. There's guys doing.
Well, there's lots of people out there. The universe is very large. In fact, I've been to the SPI show the last 2 years. I went out in Vegas and I went to LA. I mean, you think like CEDIA is a big show? Oh my God, go to SPI, which is the solar power. I'm probably getting the name wrong. It's Solar Power International or something, but that show is ginormous. So the energy, solar and energy storage industry is huge, but yet we in the CI space, really don't know that much about. Most of us don't know that much about it.
Right. No, I will admit that we don't know very much about it. I just know that we have to pay attention to it, right? We have to be involved.
No, I agree. It's coming fast and furious. Now, what for 2019, what are some of the, I don't know, I don't want to make this negative, but what are some of the areas of concern that you have or observations you have that you're kind of keeping your eyes wide open for 2019?
Well, I mean, my biggest concern, and this should be an industry concern. I don't see enough of it. I don't see enough people concerned about it. But in Texas, you're not required to be permitted, which I as a company, I would totally be fine with if we were required to be permitted. We are required to be licensed for security, and we are licensed for that. But when it comes to low voltage, we're not required to be licensed. And there was a thing in New Jersey that somebody on the OzzieOwned Slack channel posted about, that they are trying to make power over Ethernet a high voltage required license for a high voltage person to run. And the problem is that inspectors don't know the difference whether a line, we don't know the difference, to be honest, if there's a PoE line or if it's just a data line. And so what's going to happen is the AV industry is going to either have to become electricians, or we are going to have to hire electricians to do our pre-wires, or I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but it's a huge concern for me. I think that if we're not paying attention to stuff like that, we're going to be in big trouble. But like I said, I think as a company with, somewhat larger company, I feel like we can afford to go hire an electrician or figure out what we need to do to make this solution happen. But with, I would say the grandest number of AV guys are not in a position to be able to do that. Sure, it might help us in the future, but it's just something that nobody's really talking about, and it concerns me at least. So
I know that's an issue that CEDIA, as the trade organization, is looking at, and I think working on from a political lobbying standpoint in the various states around the country. And that's, I've heard the dynamic or the discussion for years, what is CEDIA doing for me? Why should I pay my dues? At least that is a pretty obvious one for me as to why any integrator should pay their dues to CEDIA to help them fight that.
Agreed, but I mean, do we have a chance against IBEW, right? The International Brotherhood of Electricians is huge. So I mean, I do have some concern that we could lobby all we want, but they are going to win that fight if they actually care about it. And so it's only really New Jersey right now, and I know that CEDIA is working on it, and I think it's great that they're working on it, but I do think that it's going to be a ongoing issue. So it's just something that we are paying attention to, and I think that any smart business guys probably in this industry is probably paying attention to it already as well.
Now, another topic that I know is close and near and dear to your heart is this topic of network privacy, and
Sure.
kind of how that's being addressed in our industry, and all of our fellow integrators taking it seriously enough, and what should they do about it? What are your thoughts around that?
So I mean, yeah, I honestly, we have cybersecurity insurance for us and our clients. I mean, we pay for that. I think that's something that all integrators should definitely look into. There was a OzzieOwned conference a few years back, and they brought a guy in who that's what he does, and he scared the heck out of all of us. And so we bought insurance like that week. But being IoT devices and all of these new devices that our clients are using and that we're using, and we just don't know where they're going, and we don't know what data they're selling and what data. And I mean, I know on our highest end clients, that's a huge concern. And we use access networks for a lot of that stuff because they are paying attention to a lot of that stuff. But even internally on small networks that we do ourselves, it's something that we have a huge concern over. And I think it's something that our clients are, I know it's something our clients are asking about daily now. And it's also something that we as an industry need to be very concerned about, because we haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I can only imagine that, somebody could easily get sued for not hard password protecting routers and modems and, computers. And, we don't do a ton of computer work per se, but we, all of that type of stuff, it's very scary. I mean, not SSL securing, processors, and anything that's open to the outside world needs to be encrypted somehow.
Is that why you use access networks, or do you use access networks on certain types of projects and then you do others in-house, or how do you balance that?
Right. So, I mean, we use access for our highest end clients. We do some stuff in-house with other products for smaller clients. It's typically a cost. I mean, it's always a cost question.
Sure.
But Access does a phenomenal job of making sure that, all of those kinds of things, if you need a report that shows that your network is secure and client requests that, I mean, they're the guys to do that for you, and they'll have an engineer get on the phone with the client and explain, or the engineer will get on the phone with the client's engineers and, really come up with good solutions that help you out. So those guys are awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's just, client, we walk into clients' houses all the time and there's a box, right? Some, whatever it might be, hey, I bought this thing, I connected it to Wi-Fi, and, we, like I said, I mean, nothing, even the best network guy in the world, I can't control if this thing's talking back and, and sitting on your network and spoofing DNS and, collecting all the data, and there's nothing we can do about that, right? I mean, it just, so it's something that we have to educate our clients, and we have to be very educated about.
Got it. No, that makes sense. I want to jump topics. I want to go diagonally to high performance audio, and how has that grown as a category for you? And of course, I'm going to tease my next guest. So I'm going to throw up some show art here so everyone can see this. But everyone can see that I have Ryan of Meridian as my next guest. And that is, of course, a high performance audio brand,
Right.
well-respected brand out of the UK. And, what is your take on that?
Sure. So I have a pair of Meridians literally right there.
Okay.
Move my computer over and see them. So Ryan's awesome. I think Ryan will bring a great discussion about MQA and about just speakers in general. I mean, they have a bunch of new stuff that's coming too. And so, I think that the high-end audio category is something that we all should be paying attention to, because I think 2-channel is definitely making a comeback. And, we love Meridian, and we love some other brands as well. And, we've done pretty well. And the other nice thing about
Have you
Meridian,
always been able to sell, I mean, the nice high performance gear? I mean, did you have to grow into that? Did you have to learn different techniques to master that or be successful at that? Or how have you approached it over time?
I think that I don't think we're masters at it at all. There's some guys in Houston that are just amazing at high-end audio. And so, we'll partner with them if it's something that's, but and so I don't think I'm a master at it at all. I think that, I think there's clients who ask about it, and we are able to fulfill a need when they ask. But we are not by any means. I mean, we're automation guys. We're security. We're great at multi-room audio. We're great at control. We're great at network. But you learn that, there are certain things in life that you're, not the greatest at. There's things that you got to bring in other guys for. And so we aren't the experts, but we love doing it.
But you do well enough to where it's top of mind for you. And
absolutely. I think it's something that we bring up in every conversation, and we always talk to clients about what they want it to sound like, and is there a room that they're very concerned with high quality sound with, and and we bring it up. So I think that's probably the easiest part of selling anything, right? Is ask the question, right? Ask the question.
Do you find that you always have to demo it, or the customer has to hear it in order to say yes to it?
No, I don't think that's at all. Again, core value being trust and that sort of thing. We really do get clients to kind of say, hey, this is what, I want this. And I mean, I don't think it's ever a bad thing to have a client listen to something, of course, and we do have them displayed, and we can absolutely let you listen, but that's not typically the pushback we get. The pushback is money, or the pushback is I don't care that much about that. But if somebody cares about it and they want excellent sounding product, it's never a problem. And like I said, when we ask for it, a lot of clients, we've found that more and more clients say, yes, I'd love to do something in my library, or I'd love to do something in here, or I have a great spot right here where I'd like to listen to opera and be able to sit and read the paper. And so.
No, that's very cool. I believe it or not, we've been talking almost 40 minutes. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it goes fast.
It goes by fast. I told you it'd go by fast.
Yeah, you did.
I do want to cover two more quick topics, and
Sure.
so we'll both be mindful of time. But one is, you are a member of one of the buying groups, OzzieOwned Unlimited. Can you just talk to the audience? Why are you a member of a group? What do you get out of being in a group? Should they be in a group? How do they know which group to be in? Kind of just talk about your thoughts.
So, I mean, we love OzzieOwned. I mean, it's been fantastic. Richard and the team there are awesome. We obviously joined because the manufacturer lineup worked for us, and we wanted to save money, right? I mean, we were doing enough business that it made sense for the dues. The dues were going to pay for themselves. But I will tell you that after being in for 3 or 4 years now, probably going on 3 or 4 years now, we get more from the conferences and from the relationships than we get from anything else. So the money is obviously great, and being able to buy together so that we can get better deals on stuff, and the promotions we get from all the vendors are fantastic. But it really is. It's the Slack channel that's reasonably new part of OzzieOwned, right? But the Slack channel where we can really get vendors all have a channel, plus there's dealer only channels and stuff like that. So you have problems with something, you pop in there, you ask about it, you get somebody who actually cares to get back to you very quickly. And with some of our manufacturers, that's a tough ask, but they're very active. So I mean, a company like Sonos, for example, right? They're very, very active on there, and that's not typically somebody you would expect to get quick, easy answers out of. But we can pop into Slack and say, hey, we've been seeing this weird thing. And they're like, oh yeah, we noticed that, and we're working on it. Or, oh, we haven't seen that. Let me go and grab an engineer and let's discuss it really quick. And so, I mean, that's been huge. And then all the promotional stuff, right? I mean, the different key leaders meetings, and the contests, and the this and the that, I mean, there's so much going on that it's a ton of fun. And we all live in this very niche market where we deal with typically very high net worth people, and with high demand, and to be able to get into a room with 250 other guys or women, or people who have deal with the same thing you deal with every day. There's nothing like it, right? There's nothing like being able to, especially we started and I was about $1 million company. And I would sit across the room from guys doing 12 and 15 and $20 million. And they're telling me exactly how they did it. And they're telling me what I need to change. And you can't beat that. I mean, that's just, there's no way I can't get that kind of training or education anywhere. And so OzzieOwned's been fantastic. I think that if your lines fit and it works for you, then I think there's no reason not to. I mean, there's, the price of dues are significantly cheaper than what you'll save, for sure, just money wise. If the only reason you're not doing it is money, then you're making a bad move. But it easily will save you the money.
All right, that's great. And I have a belief system that you certainly need to pick the group that's right for you based on product mix and leadership and style. But, if a business in the CI space is doing at least $1 million in business, which is usually a qualifying metric for most of the groups,
Sure.
you're silly to not be in
At least
a
one of them.
group.
That's
Right.
correct. I agree.
Pick
I
a
agree.
group.
I don't know. I've never been in a different group, so I can't tell you that the others aren't great. I mean, I've met the CEO of some of the other groups, and they seem like great people, and I'm sure that but Richard is fantastic. And like I said, if your product, you're exactly right. If your product mix fits, even if you've got, a few of the biggest ones will solve your issue, and you're interested in the rest of them. So, I mean, I would tell you, don't go join a group and not expect to try and do as much business as you can inside the group. But if you can make the product mix work and most of your larger lines are in it, I think that OzzieOwned's fantastic. All the people are great. Everybody's great.
Last topic. You and I were talking offline, and I asked you if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about or express yourself on this topic when we're live. And that is, you said one of the keys to your ability to grow or to grow thus far and grow beyond this point is your ability to the fact that you've learned how to say no.
Sure.
You've learned when to say no. You've said, you say no to certain types of projects or certain types of customers or certain types of product lines.
Sure.
Can you just talk about how you think about that?
So I mean, we've implemented, the first thing we did was implement sort of very strong minimum standards. And so we put stuff in place that I guess it may price us out of certain jobs, or it may price us out with certain type of clients. But we've decided that that's something that we have to put in place as we've grown and we have service technicians and everything else. It just doesn't make fiscal sense for us to go into a house and learn all new product every single time. We can't be efficient that way. It's not fair to the clients because, if I went and I did a nice sized job for a client and then had to send technicians back every time and they had to spend 4 hours there trying to understand how the network infrastructure was set up, or this or that, was set up, or how to get, a certain setting in a receiver going. And, it's not smart for anybody. So that was had been an easy path to saying no, because, there are clients who come back and say, well, I already own this, or I already own that. And we just kind of have to be sort of very stringent with our policy and just say, hey, we have a minimum standard, we have to use this so that we can service it well for you. And then we have great, I've always felt that it's very important to be friends with and acquainted with all the guys, all the local guys who are reasonably good, and so we've got relationships with those guys, and I'm happy to send work to one of these other guys who I know is a X dealer or Y dealer, so and as long as they get a good job and get it taken care of, it doesn't bother me if they take it. We have decided that these 12 items are the things that we always will do in every single house, no matter what. And if you're outside of that, well, then you don't really fit with us. And so, we've gotten pushback on it in the past, but overall, our clients are very, very excited about it, very happy about it. They understand it, and they want a system that works every single time. And that's what we can provide if we provide, a minimum standard.
I think it goes back to your belief in your core values and living by those and running your business by those. And
absolutely.
And if that means you need to, hand a client off to someone else, or, if that's what's right, then that's what's right. And everyone around you will appreciate that.
That's right. I mean, we want happy clients. At the end of the day, we want the clients to enjoy the system, like the system, and like us, right? I mean, we want referrals from them. We want all of that. And if I am going to if it's going to be a bad job, if we're going to do a bad job for you, and I know we're going to do a bad job because we're doing it incorrectly, well, then I don't want it, So
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, Paul, I know there's so much more we could talk about. We didn't even get
Sure.
to jump into the MDU project. You toured my team through there in Austin. So I'll just put that out there for the record. My team and I visited Austin in December, and Paul was very kind to come over and meet with our team and the builder of this project, and toured us through this amazing project near the University of Texas. It was very superlative. It was very excellent. So congrats on that successful project, and thanks for going out of your way for One Firefly. It's greatly appreciated.
And you guys do a good job for us every day. So, it's easy to help out when you're getting, good support on the other side. So.
Well, agreed. Well, Paul, thank you, sir, for coming on and being on show number 64. Awesome. Sometimes it's hard to believe we've made it to 64. It's very exciting for me and for One Firefly for us to have that many shows under our belt. And I keep teasing the audience. There is more to come. We are going to be converting this content into a podcast. In fact, you might be listening to this on a podcast. I hope that's the case. But that's going to be happening here in the very near future. But Paul, thanks for coming on the show.
Ron, thank you. Thanks so much. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Just a fun conversation with a rock star in Texas. And, I'm now proud to say Paul has become a friend of mine, and he's certainly a friend of One Firefly. And, I see him at industry events, and he is a thought leader and well-respected, and he's growing a very well-respected company. So on that note, I hope you have an excellent rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching or listening to this. And we will see you on the next show. I'm just going to throw that up here again, just so you guys can see that. Here's our up-and-coming guest. We have Ryan Donaher of Meridian, and we have Sean Weiner of Star Systems out of Maryland, and he's also with Bravis. And so we've got a couple of really fun conversations in store. So I will see you folks on those. I'm also going to share again our Instagram address. If you're listening, you go to Instagram/One Firefly LLC. And you will find us. We launched this page in September of 2018 at Cedia. And we've now got just under 500 or just a few less than 500 people following the page, which is pretty cool. So if you're not following us, please do that. We try to have all sorts of fun and educational content there on the show. And on that note, I'm going to sign off, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much, everyone.